Good day, subscribers. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am Jeremy. This is the Financial Education Channel, and today we're talking AMD stock. And is AMD stock a buy? Will I be buying AMD stock? This is one of the most highly requested videos from you guys in the comments section. It is simply unbelievable how many times it has been requested within the last, let's say, month or two. How many times you guys have requested about AMD, asking questions about AMD. So you know what, I thought I would just give the people what they want, and we'll do an AMD video once and for all, guys. So we're going to find out if I'm going to be buying AMD stock at the end of this video. I cannot wait to share this with you guys. Hit a thumbs up if you enjoy. Let's get into this. So first off, holy smokers, are you freaking kidding me with this AMD? Up 470% in the past year. 1 year change, 470%. That's freaking disgusting. Holy smokes. Okay, so what is this AMD? We are a global semiconductor company. By the way, I'm in the 10K section of the AMD Investor Relations page in their annual report. We are a global semiconductor company primarily offering x86 microprocessors as a standalone devices or as incorporated into accelerated processing units, APUs, chipsets, discrete graphic processing chips, GPUs, and professional graphics. A little more into what they do. A CPU, just so you guys know, it's like the brain of any type of computer or something like that, guys. It's basically the brain of it. You can read through there if you want on what a CPU is, but just think of it as the brain of a device, the brain of a laptop, the brain of a PC, something like that. And then a GPU is basically anything that has to do with the graphics of it. A GPU is a programmable logic chip that renders images, animations, and video into increasingly being used to handle general computing tasks. GPUs are located in plug-in cards and is a discrete processor. So that is the main business that they're in. CPUs, which is basically the brain of it. GPUs, which controls all the graphics that basically go into like a PC or something like that, guys, or gaming system, those kinds of things. So that is where their business is at. Now they're into some different things here. They're into the desktop, which is probably the biggest business. They're in notebooks, 2-in-1, some of those things, you know, that it's like a tablet 1 minute and then you could turn into a laptop. They do chipsets. They're into the commercial sector, the graphics market. And also, so the majority of their customers, or excuse me, the major customers for them are Sony, Microsoft, and HP. All three of those companies are basically beyond 10% of their revenue. So they get at least 10% of their revenue from each of those customers. So they're getting a minimum of 30+% of their business from Sony, from Microsoft, and from HP. Now, it's probably closer to a 50, 60, 70%, guys, because the majority of their products come from those three companies they're selling into, and which makes sense because, one, they're in the Sony PlayStation, as you can see here. The Sony PlayStation, this is a teardown of Sony PlayStation 4. They use the AMD Jaguar cores and AMD Radeon GPUs, so they use both those chipsets. And the Xbox 360 here, guys, or excuse me, the Xbox One, this is also their breakdown, and they use the Jaguar 8-core CPU and an AMD Radeon graphics GPU. So, and then obviously HP on the side. HP is probably the biggest PC, or well, at least one of the biggest PC companies out there. So it's kind of natural for AMD to get the majority of their revenue from those three companies. So there it is, a bit diversified for, you know, example there. So let's go over some risk factors if you're investing in AMD stock and some of the negatives on AMD stock. This is their first risk factor they put up in their annual report. Intel Corporation's dominance on the microprocessor market and its aggressive business practices may limit our ability to compete effectively. Intel Corporation has been the market share leader for microprocessors for many years, a decade, 2 decades plus. Intel's market share margins and significant financial resources enable it to market its products aggressively to target our core customers and channel partners with special incentives and to influence customers to do business with us. These aggressive activities have in the past and are likely to in the future result in lower unit sales and lower average selling prices for many of the products. So basically, what does that paragraph mean? It's basically AMD saying that Intel's super aggressive with pricing because they have so much scale. Intel has so much scale that they can cut prices pretty low. And if AMD wants to try to win a customer away from Intel, right, they need to come in at such a low price point that they end up either losing money or not making nearly the margin they are. That's why AMD has been unprofitable year after year, which we'll look at their income statement. They're like unprofitable for like a long time, guys. At least the last 5 years. That's what I looked into. I wouldn't be surprised if they've been unprofitable for 10, 15, 20 years. And the question is, can they ever get to a profitable place as long as Intel's the dominant leader there, guys? Because Intel can just say, oh, no, we'll charge you, $3 a chip or whatever, and then AMD's got to come in. Okay, we'll do $250, and then AMD's hardly making any profit, guys. So it's a tough business for AMD. So some other things that are going bad for AMD. Globally, sales in 2016, this is PC sales, were down 6.2% to 269 million unit shipments. So basically, it's been 5 consecutive years that PC sales are down. PC sales are down. They're going to continue to probably go down. They're probably never going to recover, guys. As eventually it'll be 200 million units, and then it'll be 150 million units a year, and then 100 million units. So the pie is getting smaller and smaller for PCs, which is AMD's core market at the moment. So that's something to take into account. Also, AMD has completely missed out on the mobile revolution, as pretty much NVIDIA has. Both those companies have completely missed out. They're not in the iPads, they're not in the iPhones, they're not in the Samsung devices. And what you have is a situation that when iPads become so, I guess you would say advanced, where you don't need a PC to use it anymore, that's going to be even a worse thing for PCs. Currently, I use my iPad or my iPhone or whatever smartphone. If I have a Samsung, I'd be using the Samsung for the majority of my computing. And right now, I use my MacBook I bought last year. I use that for like editing videos and things like that. And that's what I currently use. Now, when probably the next generation iPad comes out, it's going to be so powerful that I will not even need to use my MacBook at that anymore, which will completely eliminate the need for me personally to ever use PCs again if I want, because I can do everything photography, videography related on my phone or on an iPad because it's so powerful and it's so intuitive at that point. The reason I haven't yet is because it's not intuitive enough and not powerful enough. When that happens, guys, it's going to be even a worse thing for PC sales, and this is another reason why PC sales are declining and will continue to decline, because everybody's got their computer. It's this and it's this. This is the computers people are using in the future. So that's kind of some trouble there. So then we look at the VR market, and this has to do with gaming side of things now. We're looking at the gaming side because that's the other biggest part that AMD plays in, right? Well, a lot of the VR type gaming and VR experience, it's going through the phone. And the phone is something AMD's not in. So that's some other trouble. And then we look at the Oculus Rift, which is a gaming system owned by Facebook, and I could not find anywhere in the chip breakdown that AMD is in the Oculus Rift. If you guys could please look into that. If you know if maybe they are in it, I could not find anywhere that they are in the Oculus Rift. So they might be missing out on VR gaming as well, which would be they missed out on the mobile revolution and possibly miss out on the VR revolution. I don't know. I would love to see you guys if you know that maybe they are in the Oculus, but from my understanding, they are not. I could not find anywhere in the chipsets that they are in that. Then you take into account the mobile gaming revolution. This is taking people's time. People only have so much time to game, right? They only have so much time for entertainment, for gaming, for anything, right? So mobile gaming is huge, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and companies are realizing how powerful mobile gaming is, how much money there is to be made on mobile gaming. I owned King Digital for a long time, King Digital stock. They own the Candy Crush and Candy Crush Soda Saga games and all those kind of games, Farm Heroes, some of those kinds of games, right? Well, that company was extremely profitable. They were making like $200 million plus a year. Actually, they were making over $400 million. Excuse me, I forgot how much they were really making. They were making over $400 million profit per year. Profit. Supercell, the company that's behind the Clash of Clans and Clash Royale and Boom Beach and those games, that company is supposed to be making over $600 million in net income per year, supposedly. We don't know because it's a private company, but from what I've heard, they're making over $600 million per year. So you're going to have game designers focusing around mobile because I think a lot of places want a piece of that pie, guys. When you have King Digital making $400 million plus a year in net income, when you have companies like a Supercell making $600 plus million per year in net income, and you have a lot of other smaller game makers making $50, $100 million net income per year, guys, it's a pretty profitable business. So, and all those games are played on here, and they're played on here, guys. So that's another segment of the market that AMD is missing out on here, guys. So some things to take into account as far as the negatives go with AMD. Now, as far as AMD's net revenue, so in 2014, they did $5.5 billion in net revenue. Then they dropped all the way down to $3.9 billion, a drastic drop there to 2015. And then last year, they recovered a bit and up to 4.2. So revenue is going in the right direction. So that's a good sign. However, gross margin, the two lines under there, you look at that, and gross margin actually went down last year despite them having $300 plus million more in revenue. It's a very bad sign. Then we go down there and we look toward the bottom. We see net loss. They lost around just under $500 million last year. The year before, they lost $660 million. The year before that, they lost $400 million. This is a serial company of losing money. They lose money year after year after year. Looking at their balance sheet now, cash and cash equivalents of $1.2 billion. It doesn't look like they have much for investments, not much for short-term debt. They do have long-term debt of about $1.3 billion, which basically cancels out the cash. I look at AMD, and this is absolutely not a stock I would invest in personally. That doesn't mean you can't. That doesn't mean you can't make money in it. You know, just because Jeremy doesn't want to be in it doesn't mean the stock might go up another 500% next year. Who knows? Personally, there's no way I would invest in this company. They're missing out on the mobile revolution. They're probably going to miss out on the VR revolution unless they do something huge with Oculus Rift and some of those kinds of things. They're kind of getting out in that gaming forefront. And PC sales, one of the main parts of their business, is declining year after year after year. And you have game makers now for the PlayStation to Xbox. The game makers, they want to charge for you to even get online, which is why I've never bought another PlayStation, or I won't ever be in the future, and all my friends aren't as well, because we don't want to pay $50 whatever a month it is. Plus, now games are like $60-65 for a brand new game. It's getting absolutely ridiculous, the prices they're charging. So I don't personally have time to play mobile games, but when I did have time, I would play mobile games over my PlayStation 3, because it was like cheaper. It was straight up. It's cheaper, and it was actually more fun to me to play Clash of Clans and some of those games than it was to actually play Call of Duty. So I'm looking at things here, and does this mean the end for AMD? Probably not. Can they do some things to maybe recover? Maybe. But when I look at a company that loses money every single year, when are they going to turn it around? If they maybe just lost money 1 year, maybe 2 years, then maybe you can say, okay, now they're going to turn it around. But when they lose money year after year after year after year after year, all the way, you can look way back, and their revenues the revenue recovered a bit last year, but they're still down $1.3 billion from what they did in 2014. They're still down $1.3 billion from what they did in 2014, guys. So, and then their balance sheet is just an okay balance sheet. They got more debt than they have cash. So why would I want to be an AMD stock? And it's gone up 500% last year. There's no reason for me to be in a stock that loses money, that doesn't have a great balance sheet, that has a bunch of products that are in decline, a bunch of cyclical products that are in decline. It makes no sense for me to be in AMD whatsoever. However, I know a lot of you guys are in AMD stock, so, you know, don't hate me for this video, but I got to be straight up with you. I mean, it's not a stock I'm interested in whatsoever, so that's fine. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this day, unless you're an AMD shareholder. I'm sure you're not. And if you want to give me a thumbs down, that's fine. But no, I would seriously love if you guys in the comment section, if you are an AMD shareholder, if you could please share your opinion on AMD and why you're bullish on it, because I would love to hear I'm obviously very bearish on the stock. I would love to hear a bullish point of view and why you're excited for the stock and why the stock, the revenues can recover, why they can get back to profitability. What's the realistic scenario for that and those kinds of things. I would love to hear from you guys. I welcome all points of view. If you just came across this channel, you may want to subscribe. We talk personal finance on the channel. We talk entrepreneurship. I'm an actual business owner. We talk the stock market, the most of everything, including breaking down stocks every once in a while and telling you if I would buy them. Thank you for watching, guys, and have a great day.